Early on, I was interested in work that somehow pointed towards the body, to action of the body, whether it was fontanas, slashes, or Pollock dripping, and then in a more contemporary sense, a lot of performance art. The technique that I use has evolved from a three-dimensional scan, a computer scan of my own body. To accomplish that scan, I went to a military base and agreed to take part in this broad anthropometry experiment. They use anthropometry and biometrics and scanning as a way to measure large swaths of the population to get these very accurate averages. And they sell the data to the military to design flak jackets, ejection seats, helmets, anything that kind of interfaces with the body. You have that file that exists as just raw data. So I use a combination of different milling techniques to create different sections of the thing. Like the hands and the feet and the heads are done using rapid prototyping. And then I get those parts sent to me. They're out of epoxy. And then the rest of the form is done out of foam, by milling it out of foam with CNC milling. If you just take a peek around the corner in there, you can see the first guy in its original state, which is like this painted foam version. We make the mold around that thing, and then we remove the mold, and then that thing is no longer of any value. The eyes closed directs the meaning of the piece inward. I didn't want the meaning to really reside on the surface, so that actually the space around the thing could be really the topic. They're really more like a catalyst, which is why I think it was important to eschew a lot of unnecessary detail. All the distortions of the figures are on a horizontal axis, which is basically the axis of movement. So the implication is that as the viewer moves around it, they change and sort of implicate the viewer's movement into the whole experience. It's not just a retinal or an optical effect at all, it's much more complex. It's a sort of a physiological response. It has to do with, I believe, the fact that our brains are changing to evolve and adapt to our information world. But at the same time, the empiricism of that is being challenged constantly because we can't really trust what we're looking at. And it's a modern predicament. I mean, there's Giacometti lurking in this work in some ways because it is about space. It's about defining a space, an ambiguous space. And when you don't really know, when you sense that, but you don't really know what it is, it can be a bit, disconcerting. So this is really what that's about. It's about trying to articulate that in the public sphere. The anxiety and the euphoria of what we're going through. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping that these little men will do.